Welcome everyone and welcome to All In, All United.
Remember the comment you made?
I got some bars to these.
Run Ryan.
Right.
And here's the thing, you have players out there.
I think the fellas are taking more serious.
What grade?
That one of them.
Yes, because at the end of the day, right now, Manchester United are
Oh boy. Wednesday night, happy hump day. And as usual, welcome to All In, All United. We're gathered here for the first loss of Ruben Amorim. Now, don't get me wrong. We'll dissect the performance and we'll dissect which players are looking to play for themselves and which players are looking to play for Ruben Amorim. And as always, I can't do it by myself. Here are Simeon and JP. How are you guys doing tonight, despite the loss? Don't all rush at one time.
Not too bad, not too bad. It wasn't the worst performance. Two corners. It took two corners to beat us today. As much as we didn't give enough going forward, I would say. From Ugarte comeback, I think the team put in a decent performance, and we didn't have the kind of problems that I was worried about with the Saka and Odegaard troubling the makeshift defense. So I'm not too worried. I think performance-wise, it wasn't too bad. And Simeon, I just want to ask you there, there's a Benix kit you have one?
All school Benix here. All school Benix.
Yeah, love it.
What kit? A Bennett's kit?
Yeah, Benix.
Benix College. That's the school we went.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. How you doing, Simeon? What's happening?
I'm doing good, looking forward to Benix playing, championships, but as far as like today's game was so predictable. Like I didn't even have to really watch the game to know what's going to happen. I mean, some things kind of surprised me, but most of it, Arsenal scored from corner kicks. The who was going to be bad, who was going to be good. I mean, it's one of those games where you can kind of see the writing on the wall before. And for good or bad, you just got to take it and move on,
Yeah, for sure. For some reason, after the result today, I thought I would have been a bit more riled up, but I'm not, because I saw what some of the guys, not all. I saw what some of the guys are capable of doing when coached and when they listen to Ruben Amorim. I will get into that shortly, right? Let me get through these first two comments of the night. Javid, welcome and good night to you as well. Javid is saying, we play Arsenal or Stoke today. Yeah, boy. I remember those days where we had, was it Stoke? when Rory Delap used to take those long throws. Yeah, boy. But yeah, we play Arsenal or Stoke today. Two corners to beat us. Nothing from open play. And yeah, I think three of us here in the panel and also in the comments, we're gonna dissect that game today, right? Because if it took just two corners to get 3 points, then it's a slight improvement. That's all I can say, right? I'm gonna add Chef to the call here. I'm not going to do Ray Charles shades. Welcome, Chef.
Good night.
Let me go through these next two comments here. Candice, James, Ali, welcome to you as well. Good night, fellas. Disappointed by the loss, but glory, Manchester United. Always, forever, and will be. Yeah, keep the comments coming in. We're going to dissect this game tonight. And Javid again said we probably met Arsenal 3 games too early. Man, no figuring out his best players. I will take this one and move on. Sobering result. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arun is on the inside. Thank you for joining us, buddy. Good night, fellas. Somehow didn't feel bad after the loss. And I think that is a consensus, or that's a sentiment for most United fans. At the end of the day, we still want to beat Arsenal. But I think going into this game, most people were not overhyped. They were excited because it's Ruben Amorim and he's trying to implement a style of play. And also, we're going off with the 4-0 win. But I don't think most United fans were predicting a win from tonight, right? Because at the end of the day, Arsenal are in their 5th season. They're in phase 9 with Mikel Arteta, right? So I really didn't expect anything, right? And then the last comment before we head straight into the podcast with Richard. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Yo, bros, good night. Lots of positives to take from this game, but we know some not to cut. We know some not cut to be here. Yeah, true.
Yeah, cut out to be
There are some players that are, and as I mentioned about 5 minutes ago, they're players that will play for themselves, and then they're players that will play for Ruben Amorim, right? And let me get this last comment here from Javid. Saying, Chef, I was writing for the first half. Stop to watch the game from halftime. It's my fault, fellas. Nah, don't say that, man. Don't say that. I like the humility, but yeah. But keep the comments coming, guys. The first question, our first statement or question I would ask or make is that what did you guys think of the starting lineup? Actually, let's put 2 questions in one. What did you think of the starting lineup? What did you think of the first half? And since you just came in, Chef, I will start with you first. So basically, starting lineup, and then first half.
Good night, everyone. With the starting lineup, so here's where I am right now with the starting lineup. I still believe that auditions going on. So basically, he's still giving everybody a chance. I expect within the next couple of games that's gonna stop, and we're gonna see a consistent lineup playing for most games. You will get rotations, especially because of we know how December is. But so I'm neither here nor there with the lineups right now. For now. As for what was the second part? The first half.
Before you go into the first half, Chef, a lot of United fans, when they saw the lineup, they saw the likes of Harry Maguire, who didn't play well versus Everton, and then Malacia, who didn't play well versus Bodo Glimt. So a lot of United fans were like, "Wow, Malacia again against Saka," right? So, I don't know if you had any thoughts on that. If not, yeah, you can go straight into the first half if you want to.
Yeah. So then for the most part, I was real pleased with us in the first half. Listen, all you know how in the pod we've been talking forever about from the time Manchester knocking that ball out of defense, we just get nervous. But then them fellas get a kind of confidence now, knocking that ball out that mean line and rubbing off on we fans, I sit back and watching the knock out of defense into tight spots, and I was like, but we really improving in truth. So for me, that was, on Malacia covering Dan. People could say what they want. In my opinion, Dan Malacia did a tremendous job on Saka. Dan, Saka is not, for me, an English fan. I mightn't like Arsenal, but Saka is a black youth that I really like. the man very bad. And I see Saka rip away defenses. Men is afraid to mark Saka one-on-one. Malacia might have had, like in the earlys, I find when the ball was coming over, he was allowing the ball to drop too much. Instead of attacking the ball, he was allowing the ball to drop and then let Saka get control of it. But eventually, he cut off that. It was more on the ground. The man did well. So, you know, it is good to see Malacia finding his way because we can't depend on Shaw.
Can't depend on Shaw. I'll give one comment, then I'll pass off to either Simeon or JP. I was a bit nervous when I saw Malacia starting, but then I saw that the person who will be covering Malacia on the left side was Mazrari, and that's all I got to say. So, anyway, JP or Simeon, thoughts on the starting lineup, and then thoughts on the first half.
Let me go. I mean, I think Malacia. I like Malacia. I like his the speed that he used to have. I think it's coming back a little bit, and his tenacity. Like he's not afraid to put a tackle in, and you need people on the edge who not afraid to tackle. He got a dumb yellow card, but it happened. But I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he can be useful to his team. Obviously, the coach had a good plan in place for Saka. I think a lot of times we see, when the previous coaches set the team up, they don't have like a plan in place, and men just rip apart our team like nothing. But I think this coach had a good plan. The coverage on, especially the first half was just almost flawless. Normally we see one guy running at one player. I'm sorry, two guys running at one of our players. Today you saw one of their guys, and it was Majrari, and it was Malacia there. So a lot of times you see a lot of double teaming. So I think the coach, even though the coach kind of put players in there they expect, he had a plan, and he saw a plan in motion. So that was very, a good thing to see, for a coach. Maguire, we know we had with injuries. Mount, coach say be doing well, so it's kind of, we gotta see Mount. He's number 7. We gotta play. We gotta see what kind of play we have there. Who else surprised me? Bruno Deep Lion play. Bruno should be able to play where he played, but for some reason he not. I don't think he in these big games. Like I say, some players have to shoot themselves in these big games. He just can't make the ball stick or do something with the ball again. So I think, I'm glad the coach could put players out so we all could see what we have. And I think there was one of those days where on the highest, one of the toughest places to play, we put players out there and we saw what they could do. So I think the coach have a good idea of who he working with now.
No, yeah, true. And one thing you touched on is that I think the coach had some sort of plan for Odegaard and Saka, right? And just to, I guess, streamline that last comment into JP. The JP, I thought it was a disciplined first half. I did not at any point feel Arsenal could threaten us. There was no Bukayo Saka. I hardly saw Odegaard. When it did go for a corner, though, I was a bit nervous. I think Onana was great in terms of handling the corners, but I will stop talking and let you talk, JP.
Yeah. So the starting lineup for me, I wasn't surprised because especially with Shaw pulling out the day before, we knew Maguire would be the one to come in because Euro wouldn't come in the team from the start. My only concern was where's Maguire play. So I was happy to see that he was in the center and we had more mobile players on either side. And it was a great plan putting Mazrari on that left side with with Malacia. I was happy to see Malacia back in the team too because we cannot judge him from the first game back in 500 and something days. So I was happy to see him back in the team getting a chance. The front line as well. Hoyland had a few goals in him recently. Garnacho has been scoring for us as well. And the coach say he trusts Mount. The midfield itself was good. So other than that, the team itself was good. The first half performance I thought was controlled. And what I really liked, what I saw, when Bruno was pressing, I saw Ugarte following, keeping his space with him, and calling everybody forward as well. So Ugarte is a player who understands the system, having played under Amorim already. So you're seeing where he could be a leader on the pitch in terms of how to play the system. Because I looked at that very closely. He was just calling everybody because we had to keep compact. Because if Bruno press and he pressed, then you have a big gap behind them with 3 defenders. So he was making sure to call everybody up. So I think the first half was real controlled. I think there were times I saw Amorim was trying to tell them to go forward sometimes, stop always going back, even though we want to keep the ball. Where I was a little disappointed was with the front line in terms of the play in the first half. I feel like up to the back five and Ugarte understood the assignment. Everybody else, Bruno to a point in the first half. But then the front three, I think they were very disappointing. They were very underwhelming today. I think today was a chance to test that Arsenal defense because it wasn't Gabriel and Saliba. So I feel like today was the day to get them a little test, and I don't feel like none of the front three really tested that centre back pair in the first half in particular. So my only criticism was the build up to the final third. When we got to the final third, I didn't know what to do because I know we didn't want to commit too many bodies forward. But then, yeah, I feel like the front three weren't doing enough when they had the ball to hold on to build the play, to keep it recycling. They were the disappointment for me today in that first half.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I didn't even want the ball.
Yeah,
I found that the first half was quite disciplined in terms of we had Arsenal doing a lot of back passing. I've never seen Bukayo Saka so quiet. The person who was passing the ball forward most of the time, from Arsenal's perspective, was Thomas Partey. I find that it probably took about maybe 10 to 15 minutes for Declan Rice to actually get into the game.
Yeah.
So
I was on him.
Yeah, I'm slowly but surely starting to admire Ugarte, right?
Yes.
He has some composure and physicality about him where you can hardly get the ball from him, right? And I think, as you said, JP, he kind of understands the assignment that Ruben Amorim wants him to do, right? Let me go through some of these comments here. Maybe just 2 of them where the guys are just saying, good night, Hammond. Thanks for joining us, buddy. And yeah, let us know what you thought about the first half or the starting lineup or even the entire game, right? And then last comment from Peter. Good night to you as well, Peter. Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, going to Arsenal will always be a tough task because it's Ruben Amorim's first test. Let's put it that way, right? I don't think most Man United, as I said earlier in the podcast, I don't think most Man United fans were expecting us to win. But Ruben Amorim said in a post-match interview, I think it was either after Everton, where he said, it doesn't matter what the result is, look at how the performance is, just to paraphrase, right? Because he was mentioning that we beat Bodo Glimt, 3-2, but we had more chances. We beat Everton 4-0, but Everton had a lot of chances that they could have put away as well too, right? But it's all about the performance, right? The performance today in that first half, I think it was, like I mentioned, discipline. We had Arsenal back passing, right? All right, now on to the second half, right? Second half, we conceded 2 goals from 2 corners, right? I don't feel too bad about that. It's 2 corners, right? At the end of the day, Arsenal's set piece coach this season has done a tremendous job. He's done a tremendous job.
Yeah.
Gabriel has been scoring. Whoever, Kai Havertz has been scoring from corners as well. That's where Saka gets his assist from as well. Declan Rice got 2 assists today. But yeah, to get beat 2-0 from corners, I don't mind. But something about the team today after conceding the first goal and then Ahmad coming on and doing a little trickery, it almost seemed like we reverted to Ten Hag era. I don't know what you guys think about that.
If
Some
by
of the
Ten
players.
Hag era, you mean waiting for a man to do a piece of magic and hoping things happen? Yeah, I agree.
I would
Um,
say some of them for sure.
say that again, JP?
Now I was saying some of them. I think we have a core of players there who maintain what they were supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
and then the others didn't. And you know what is the good thing about this is the core players are the Ineos signings. The only 2 outside of the Ineos signings that I would say would be Onana right now and Ahmad. That maintaining a certain level in terms of putting up 7+ performances every game. So that is Mazwari, Dillit, Onana, Ugarte, Ahmad. To me, there's the 5 players that I could say putting up consistent, good performances every game. Martinez could be thrown into that too. And the little I saw of Euro, he looking as if he would also be that type of player. So I think we have a core of players there. But then you saw the likes of Bruno reverting to same. Rashford came on and did nothing. Zirkzee disappointing. Couldn't touch the ball.
I was just about to mention that because the substitutions didn't add nothing to the game today. Nothing.
Today. So it was just disappointing to see. It's
Not
like
even Ahmad.
and to me it was just the front line on the whole today. So all of the players who played up front today were very disappointed. Because when it came time to hold the ball, when they get it, or do something to find a player to pass to build the plays, like they couldn't do these simple things. So that's why it felt like the Ten Hag era again, where these players just didn't know what to do. And I think all we want is consistency.
Correct.
At least give us a 6, start with a 6 out of 10 performance with a consistency first, and then build from there. The others given 7. So if we get 6 from the other 4 or 5 players, then the team will be a lot better. But then I don't know. And Anthony is our next one. Is like, what is Anthony role in this team? What is Anthony's function? I think the only place I could see them trying Anthony again is the left wing back position. But then he don't even have a right foot to try and use his right foot in there either. So
I have a
I
position.
don't want to
position
see
in.
money rights. I don't want to see money right side. Anthony not making sense in his team.
What position you got for him, Chef?
Left off.
Before I get to Simeon, I gotta ask JP the burning question. What was Marcus Rashford thinking?
I don't know. That's why I wonder, like, what. And I mean, the corner he gave away too. It
Led to
silly.
the goal.
It was silly. It was a silly corner. We know the threat Arsenal have from corners. We had to do.
You trying to juggle in the corner there, boy?
I was saying, like, go try and play it off the player or kick it out for a throw.
Kick it up for throw.
something like that, but to try and juggle
He trying to
knowing
juggle the
feel
ball
wet
to
too.
boom kick it behind him, you know.
Yeah. And he feel
That
wet
makes
too,
no
so you saw
sense,
men was
dog.
slipping. Rain was falling real heavily, so men was slipping. So he had to know better than that. You're playing football long enough. I mean, we can't, I wouldn't blame him for the goal, but his actions led to a corner, which led to the goal.
And you know that is the only play
And it's
is
the biggest
Arsenal
threat.
Stoke we playing.
Yeah.
On to you, Simeon. Second half, we saw the debut of Lenny Euro. I mean, you can factor this into your discussion, but then the substitutes didn't make a difference per se, other than Ahmad trying a thing. And then we conceded based on 2 corners.
I mean, not only, I don't want to say concern, but like, we all know the corner routine Arsenal likes to run. And just, I mean, what bugs me about this team is the physicality we lack. Like, we have a few players that are physical, that could, but I don't think we have enough players that are there for that kind of contact. I feel like some guys shy away from it. You have a few players, like what those corners Arsenal took. I mean, they moved people. Like men get moved on that corner. I mean, I guess it's not far. I mean, referee's not gonna call it, but still, you have to be ready for it. Like, who was it? Was it Rasmus get moved out of the way? He's gonna jump and then push him out of the way. Like, men get. I mean, I feel like you have some players who are aware and ready for the contact and ready to be, for that kind of jostling. Like, Rasmus will always be ready for that, even though he can't hold on to that ball. But some players just stationary. I just feel like we weren't, ready for that kind of,
Force.
force. And like, you have to understand, like, Arsenal is one of those, is a hungry team. Arsenal get licked so many times, they try and win its title, they get licked. They down to the basic, whatever it takes to win. And this set pieces is their ace in the hole, for most of these games. So like, whatever it takes. I feel like we so far from that. Like, they hungry. I feel like we kind of like, throw our hands up in the air. Like, if it happens, it happens. So in that kind of mentality wise, that's where it shows up in those kind of goals. But second half, I mean, we said we knew in these big games, some players would turn up and some players won't. Guys who scored 2 goals against, Everton, who won today somehow. But some guys will show up for the big game, and some guys, won't. And unfortunately, we can't depend on Xerxes, and even sadly, Rashford, who was one of our best players, for the last, I mean, I don't say best players, but biggest names in the club. We can't depend on them. And when you look at the kind of money we spent, in the forward department that are still on the books, it's kind of embarrassing. We have, the kind of money we have Anthony. We have, Sancho just left, but we still have, Euro and Rasmus. It's like the kind of money we spent, it's hard to justify the kind of, performance we get it. So they got to figure out something because, yeah, we have games where we're not going to be the best, but you can't have a forward line that's like, just inept to do stuff. Ahmad can't create all the goals on the right side.
Before I get to Chef, because Chef, you did mention earlier in the podcast about auditions, right? And I'm gonna ask you guys all this question, and then I'll go to the comments, and then you guys will answer after I read the comments. by what date or month would you expect auditions to be over? Let's put it that way. Let's get through some of the comments here. Kristen, thanks for joining us on this Wednesday night. What I love about this manager, he is utilizing what he has and he is giving every single player a chance. Yep, that's what we mentioned earlier. He is utilizing everyone to see who fits his system and style of play. Previous managers had one team starting right through and other men ain't getting a chance. Very, very true. Very, very true, Kristen. Nail on the head. And Arun is saying, Euro looks so promising with potential, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he got dribbled past maybe once. That was by Trossard, but other than that, Euro. I want to see what Euro can do definitely in this starting lineup. And then last comment, King Unruly Pre, thanks for joining us, buddy. Rashford came on and showed nothing but giving away a corner. Yeah, true. All right. Yeah. So when you guys think auditions will be over?
Before I answer that one, I just want to add to something we were talking about with these players, and somebody need to tell Garnacho that he is a footballer and footballers also defend. Not everything done. Did you all see a play in the earlys when was it Saka? Can't remember who it was. Basically blew past Garnacho. And Garnacho tried to fail, like if he was gonna put in a tackle, but he really didn't.
Yeah.
Dan, I was like,
and he stopped running, right? He stopped running playing, and he stopped running.
He totally stopped running.
Yeah.
Dan, let me tell you something. I'm sure by now members is in you always on that youth, but more and more I get into this like that youth, you know. Because unless he gets in all the ball to his foot and he have acres, a room, he does nothing for the game, you know. He does nothing. He offers nothing. Where is the Garnacho who would have come short for the ball and had Old Trafford standing up, boy? Is unless you're feeding him all the ball, he adds little to nothing to the team. Right. That's that. Let me move.
Yeah, I was saying, Chef, in terms of auditions.
Yeah.
When do you think auditions would be over, per se?
Dan, I think I want to say by at least next 2-3 games. That done, you know.
You think so?
Because now we had to try and kick one to move up the table, you know. So I want to believe by next 2-3 games, I would give Amarin maybe 8 games under his helm. By that time, you have to have an idea of who's your team. Don't get me wrong, I still want to see some rotation. I don't want men to get settled and feel the can't get bench at all. But we also have an idea of who is the man could play in any system, who really willing to fight. And to be quite honest, as I think you pointed out in the earlies, it's not much of them, you know.
Euro has only gotten one chance under this manager, and that was today. You said within the next 2 to 3 games, Chef. You think Euro would get maybe all 3 games, or get 2 out of those 3 games?
Probably get taught. I think he probably will get taught to the 3. But then Euro is a footballer, boy. You could watch the youth and watch him. Simple. Listen, and I'm sure all of you all would agree. You just not to see much of a man to know his capabilities, you know.
Yeah.
How much games Euro played in the preseason? Was it 1?
1 or 2?
2?
Yeah.
2.
And he
Go ahead,
convinced
Johnny.
all of us enough that we couldn't wait for me, that was the highlight of today. Seeing him on the field finally.
Yeah.
As we say, he started off a little shaky, but when he finds his footing, then the man is a proper footballer though.
All right, you're putting more questions in my head, but I can stick to the original question, JP and Simeon. When do you think auditions will be over? And obviously that would establish 11 first team members that Amarin will start from now till I guess the end of the season.
By the time we play Arsenal, the next game, the FA Cup game, so that is January. So that should be
Okay.
about same timeline, same timeline, Chef, because we have at least 3 to 4 more games before the year over. I think.
So you're saying auditions will be over after the FA Cup final or right before the FA Cup final? Arsenal, sorry.
By that game. So for that Arsenal game, I think we should have
An established
team,
starting lineup.
the established starting lineup by then, especially with players being back. Malacia get 245 minutes on him. I think we might see the same for Euro. And from there, I think he could start to go to 60 minutes for them and then start to look at a 90 for the next game. So I think with them coming back in the team like that, they could get blooded into the team a little better. Then it's good headache for Amarim to have, because if Martinez did it Euro, then we have to find somewhere to play Mazwari, and then
No, we get into that question. No, don't worry.
Yeah.
We get into that
Okay.
question.
Yeah. So I would say by then, by that game, we should know, because I think there's enough time. Because what he said he doing is he allowing everybody to build up the fitness to get into the system, and we see any rotation, and I'm suspecting we'll see more rotation on the weekend, with his team. So yeah, by then he should have a fair idea as to at least who is his best, let me say 12 or 13. I wouldn't say 11 yet. I would say 12 or 13. Yeah.
Before I come to you, Simeon, let me get through some of these comments here. Asen Lynch, good night, buddy. He's saying good night, brethren, to all of us. Blessings and love.
Right.
Good night to you, Eric Lewis. He's saying, agreed, millions spent, but no goal threat. First half solid, but some players in the second half revert to Ten Hag ball. Yep, true. Alvin Lewis is on the inside. He's saying, good night, gentlemen. It was a hard loss to take, but we have to cut out the mistakes and be disciplined in these set pieces, because that's where the goals came from. And then one question that Eric Lewis, actually, let me bring David Curtin's comment, just good night, and then back to Eric Lewis's comment. He said, do you guys think that Ahmad should have started? I think so, but I don't know what you other three guys think.
I want to say yes, but remember he said at the end of the game Ahmad was tired. After the Everton game, he said he was tired, so he don't want to. As much as he would be tempted to want to start a player like that, I think he's still trying to guard against injuries, because remember, he's trying to build up the fitness in this team. And we don't want to start to see the same kind of muscle injuries that happened under Ten Hag. So by rotating the team, you're giving them the match fitness, but at the same time, you're protecting them from getting the kind of muscle injuries that we were seeing players getting.
Like
So
Kobe
I
Manu,
yeah.
What do you other two think? Ahmad should have started, or you share the same sentiments as JP?
I mean, I think Ahmad. I mean, you always want to see Ahmad play, but like you said, I mean, Ahmad had a little knock after the last game, and he was tired. So I mean, you could see the trying to be more cautious side of that, because I think for him, I think he's seeing more of a doctor, at United than I think he saw at Sporting. I think, he said he's seen all these injuries, all these restrictions on players. I don't think he's seen that this kind of restrictions and, land from the in the infirmary, in all his other clubs. So, it's kind of for him. It has to be a newer experience as far as balancing this many injuries with players that are not fit to run his system. So I think that is probably playing in his mind now. Um, just trying to balance. He just got Shaw back and Shaw's already gone. So I can't imagine what's going through his head. Look at these players like, man, what kind of team we have here? So I think that's going to kind of play a role in him. In the auditions because he can't really see too many other players he want to see. But at the same time, I think by the end of the year, I think definitely by the transfer window, but I think by the end of this month, he will know who's his team. We have coming up Newcastle. By that Newcastle game, he should have a good idea because he's playing these guys. It's not like he's hiding them. Nobody ain't really getting hidden anywhere. I mean, if Mount playing, if you see, I mean, any person who really ain't play as much as he is Ericsson, he don't really play as much. But I mean, men getting chance to show themselves. I mean, men getting chance to play. So
True.
it can be soon. And I think we gonna see what the main people who he want to replace. And so far, I mean, midfield is one thing, but them forwards, they need games like these where they can't do anything. It has to be a worry for him because you have Canacho on the left who can't the ball can't stick to Canacho. He can't really do anything with the ball. You can't rely on him to be a layoff. You have Rashford who come on and do what he did today. So I mean, that whole left side is an issue. You have Ahmad, and then you have who else? You try Mount, and Mount's a good player, but he ain't really giving you a lot as far as anything special with that number 7 jersey.
I'm not gonna lie. Up to this day, I still can't recognize where Mount is on the field and what he brings to this team. Honestly, right? But we got to talk about one player in particular, and I can use an analogy first, and then you guys will probably know which player I'm talking about. So I can use the analogy. I can use Chef for this analogy. So Chef, you are. I'm assuming you run your own cooking business or catering,
Yep.
right? Perfect. You hire someone to be under you. If that person only shows up to work and you're having catering events, let's say 4 or 5 times a week, and that person only shows up to your work once a month for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, what are you gonna do about that?
He ain't gonna last 2, 3, 5 years.
Oh, he ain't gonna last that long.
He lasts in 2, 3, 5 months.
If you guys
It's
don't know who I'm, if you
It's
guys
as
don't know
simple
who I'm
as that.
talking,
I had
yeah.
to be able. Number one is I had to be able to rely on you, and if I can't rely on you, then it's not making sense.
So but Chef, even if this person is calling in sick all the time, Chef, my belly don't feel good, or I play football the other day and I got a sprained ankle.
Then go in the hospital and stay there till you get better. Let them pay you.
If anybody doesn't know who I'm talking about, I'm referring to this one guy who took to Instagram yesterday to post a very long essay on his journey at Manchester United.
Like if anybody tried to hear that,
And I
Are you
could
right,
literally
Doctor?
say I could give 2 shits, buddy. I don't care, honestly.
Yeah.
2014, you have been here. So that's 10 years.
Wow.
10 years. You were signed under Louis Van Gaal. I repeat, you have been here since 2014.
and he played less than 40% of the games.
Anyway, I'm talking about Luke Shaw. I am talking about the one and only Luke Shaw. What do we do with Luke Shaw, guys? What do we do? If you're running
We have to get a sale for him. We have to get a sale for him. We're
A
probably not
sale?
going to get to the
Buying Shaw?
genre. Huh?
Nobody buying Shaw, chef.
nobody
Buying
buy a
Shaw.
Shaw, chef.
It
When
must-
somebody
it
looking to
must-
buy a player, they're more than likely going to check their record, the injury history. You know.
Yeah, nobody.
It must have a team willing to take a gamble on him now. But then Luke Shaw ain't did that. It's out. Boy, it's so you can't. That's why when Lion had said in the football group that Luke Shaw back, I said then back
For
means you played a month. Back is not that 2 games and you're back. No way. Them fellas, I had enough of Luke Shaw. Sorry to say, people might say, oh God, chef, you're harsh and you're hard. Yes, I hard. Because here what? When I had to be hearing one set of McMahon from Arsenal telling me one set of notices, or they don't feel sorry for me. So now I'm not feeling sorry for all the ride out.
Boy, you think? But JP, you think we can't get any money for Luke Shaw?
No. I think it's one of 2 things with Luke Shaw. Terminate the contract or pay as you play contract to put him on. Because he on ridiculous wages for what we getting from him. Nobody buying him. I don't think there's no club that is going to spend money on a player with that injury record. No club.
Totally agree.
The
Give
thing
him
about
give
the
the
thing about
Theo
it,
treatment and the Martial treatment.
the thing about it, like what I found out, y'all, because I was one of them about terminating his contract as well. GP, you would know, because that's your field. You can't terminate a man for injuries. He had to be doing some kind of drill, severe dotations. Like, you know,
Terminate by mutual consent if the both of them could come to the agreement.
that's where you had to be able to get him to by mutual consent. But them fellas selfish. Them fellas not gonna give up their millions.
I find so that is selfish because that's why his message on Instagram do mean nothing to me.
Correct.
Because it's like if you're so care about the club and the fans, then your contract situation will change.
Yeah.
It will
And sign as all they rightfully said. Sign a player as you pay as you play.
Yeah, we
sign
have
one of that, and then
yeah.
I can say, all right, you care about my club.
Yeah,
we had Michael Owen on that contract when we won the Premier League. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Simeon, you want to keep Luke Shaw?
Why? No. I mean, why?
Why? True.
Keep him. I mean, we didn't have him to keep. I mean, we got to keep it anyway. I mean, you know, it's. I mean, I think what I think really I'm kind of surprised by was this letter, this Instagram post, because we were pissed off since the Euros where he played England for a few games, and then he was gone. Like, you couldn't say that nothing back then. Like, why till now? I mean, I think that ship more or less has sailed with Luke Shaw. I think he's a decent player when healthy. I don't think he's he's England. He might be England #1, but that don't really say much about England. I just think that we need to get better. I mean, I can't believe we haven't addressed this position for the last few years, knowing what kind of injury record he's had. So we need to get in the phone and try and get this. Fernandez? We need to get somebody else. We
linked with Alfonso Davis, this Kirkes guy from Bournemouth. And then obviously Fernandez from Benfica. I guess there's some sort of buyback clause for him, right? So there are options there. Maybe Terrell Malacia is also an option, but the fact that I don't want to call these names here that could possibly replace Shaw, because my next question, well, before I go to my next question, let me go through some of these comments here. Alwyn Lewis is saying Glass, Shaw. David Dennis, welcome, buddy. He's saying nobody will buy Shaw, terminate his contract, give him a payout.
And somebody buy Marcel? Why then go buy Shaw?
Marcel
Well,
wasn't as bad, though.
But
Shaw was-
Marcel went on a free though. Don't forget.
Yeah.
he went free too.
Well, they
Kurt.
brought that free too.
Kurt Alexander is saying, "Hi guys, I missed the second half, but was informed Euro played. How did he look? Euro did a job.
Yeah.
I
Euro-
like his
was
composure.
decent for Hilo Koboswell.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, the thing with Euro is like some people you can just watch them play, like you said before. You just watch them play and you can see levels, like how they handle. I mean, like with ease, like just doing things that people think look might be hard. Just see us handling it and moving on with the business like it's nothing. So he's one of those players who, with size, strength, speed, you can see the difference with your eyes. And I think we need more players like that who can just see the either potential or actual, skill just by looking, because we didn't have too many of those right now on our team.
Very, very true. Let me get through a couple more comments here. Oh, sorry. Eric Lewis is saying, I have no sympathy for Luke Shaw. He should have rested and not go to Euros. Yeah, it wouldn't. And then Kurt Alexander saying, Shaw is ridiculous, man. Now come back from injury and is injured again. Phil Jones 4.0.
And here's the thing, before you go, just a quick interjection there. It's not his fault he gets injured. Like at the end of the day, you don't make yourself injured. But you have to accept responsibility that your body just not there. And this goes back to what we are now saying. You're selfish because clearly your body needs pampering, but you go on Euros. Daniel was not fit, boy. You wouldn't be the first or last person to refuse an international tournament.
But I think it goes to show how poorly the club was being run, because he is not the first player. 10 years, and I have a start here. 10 years, 278 appearances.
Jesus.
Footballers now playing an average anywhere between 40 to 60 games a season for the club. So you should expect
was 270 GAP divided by 10?
That is like 2.7 games, 27 games. 27,
That's
28 games a
ridiculous.
season. So, and you're expecting like most footballers playing between 40 to 60 games.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he should be well past 500 appearances for Manchester United, having been here 10 years. He only just halfway to that mark. So that's showing you how the club was being run. Because how he keep getting new contracts. Phil Jones was the same thing. When Phil Jones was constantly getting injured, he got a new contract. Martial was getting injured. Rimbo come from it. he was still getting contracts. So the club was being run poorly. So we can't even blame Shaw, because I get injured and they offering me more money. I taking it. Right? So
Guaranteed money.
He taking the money because the club offering him it. They're not trying to say, well, like we reduce their wages. We ever hear anything about Shaw wages getting reduced after 10 years?
Not only reduce, let me get rid of you and look for a new left back.
Correct.
That's why I showed you. So we were being run really poorly when it showed you somebody had 10 years and can't make 500 appearances yet.
let me go through the last two comments and we're gonna switch topics. Kurt, as I understand, the first half the team looked disciplined, but how did we lost the plot in the second half? I did expect Arsenal to turn up the heat in the second half. And then Jadon Belmar from the YouTube side, thanks for joining. He's saying a loan with agreement to buy can be done for Shaw. Same thing with Sancho got for Chelsea. Boy, yeah, right. I highly doubt that.
Again, that's the final team.
Yeah, it's so willing to take.
All right, I got a last question. Something to think about. Now, we saw a cameo from Lenny Euro today. Let's say Lenny Euro pushes on in these next 2 to 3 games and does well. Minimum 7 performance. He puts in that Mazraoui type of performance. What is your expected back 5? Well, that's why I asked that question.
Ahmad had to play Turner because Mazraoui had to play, and Mazraoui could play the wingers. I know the thing is, so hear him out, right?
Yeah.
So let me start it first. The back three will be Martinez, Dillet, Euro. Malacia, I'm hoping will start to continue as he is going. So Malacia on the left. Ugarte and Kobe in the middle, and Mazraoui on the right. Bruno and Ahmad are the 10s, and Hoyland the main striker. I think Mazraoui and Ahmad on any side playing at any version of this team, be it from the back three to the fourth man, to the wing back, or the wing back to the number 10, I think they will do just as well, and having a Euro behind them will make it even better on the right side. Yes, Ahmad is doing excellently as the wing back, but seeing the levels that Mazraoui has brought to the team, I expecting similar from him, and then having the interplay again with Ahmad further up the pitch. I think that would be the best because you have to play Mazraoui, and if you're not playing Mazraoui as your right wing back, where else you playing him?
On the left, JP.
Nah.
What? But the man can play on the left.
No, yes, he could, but I still feels like he is better on the right. To me, that's where his performances drop from 7.5 to 7.
All right, I am not in disagreement with you. I want to hear what Chef and Simeon got to say.
I'll go ahead. I mean, back 5. I mean, yeah, you have Dillet, you have Euro, you have Martinez. That should be solid 3. I mean, I have to agree. I mean, I have to agree with JP. Like, I think Dallo need a rest. I think he need a week or 2. Just he a Sancho break. You know, Sancho had a little retreat. He had a nice little retreat. I mean, because he's not a bad player, but I just feel like he's so lax. He because of concentration in there. Like he need like some time off. So I mean, I like Malacia. I agree we ain't seen enough from him, but you know, I think he's a safe enough pick on left hand side. Mazraoui on the right. You know, I think Martinez behind. You know, actually, let me stop. Let me think about that. Because Martinez is responsible enough, but at the same time, they both hot heads at that side. So, but I would roll with that crew. Mazraoui, I mean, he's so good. You want to put him in any spot that you have issues. I was seeing him in the midfield.
That's the I don't mind putting Maswari on the left. You know, I literally don't mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just my opinion. Well,
I mean, Mashrari, like I said, I don't mind putting him anywhere we have problems. Midfield, striker, forward. I don't. No, the man. So no, you see the level he has, and you see. I mean, and the fitness. Like we get this man for how much money?
12 million.
And they talk about how he had this injury problem and stuff, and this man running, and this man running, and this man still the whole game. This man running, and then coming off tired. This man running whole game. And you might make it you hardly see a bad pass. You hardly see him flustered. You might make him, you might just see the field. You feel that pressure and make a turn. Like, where they make these players and why we can't get more of them. So, I mean, the back five, in particular, the back three should be good, in the, for next few games. But, we have so many issues, the issues we have are more further up the field as we saw today. So,
what are you thinking, Chef?
Euro, Dillett, Martinez at times, Maguire at times, because I just don't believe we could play Martinez too regular. Martinez. And I don't know, boy, and just this season, I just find Martinez just a little off. He just not the same. That's just me. He just seems a little off at times. I don't know if is it that he's not fully fit. I don't know. But yeah. So I understand. Maguire wasn't bad at Maguire. Maguire seemed to, catch himself a bit. So that is my back three. This is where they start to get complicated with this side. As much as I like what he offers, I want Ahmad further upfield. I want Ahmad as a number 10. Maz has to start in my team. And I prefer him start on the right side because that's his natural thing. So Maz and Malacia.
I am for Ahmad starting further the field. I think that's one thing I preached about before the Everton game, and then I don't want to say Ahmad put me in my place, but I was like, okay, well. Playing 2 games at right wing back, that's okay. But then playing in the Everton game is like, okay, you kind of cemented that right wing back position, right? I guess I'll go with you guys. I definitely would like to see Ahmad further up, Masrari on the right side. But then I did see a comment here from Kurt Alexander mentioning, not this one here, sorry. This one here. Harry Amas. He's probably one of the few players that hasn't gotten a chance under Amorim. Him and Collier as well too, right?
Collier just came back from injury too.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Is Amas fit?
I have not heard Harry Amas's name since preseason.
He was injured. He had an injury, so I'm not sure if he's back. Say that again, JP.
He probably get injured with the 18s because I haven't seen him for the highlights for the 18s that I'm looking at. I don't think I've seen him.
I guess we could check and see what he going. But yeah, go ahead now.
I find Ahmad to excel more on the flanks, though, no? And the way the attacking position is does it limit him to the amount of space he has per se to like do his trickery and what's not and running?
You mean playing as a winger as a wing back? He gets more space.
Yeah, exactly. He gets more space as a wing back versus like playing in that attacking mid position, right? Plus, if he does a lot of running, it'll probably be in the center, right? Versus if you're on the wings, you
Wing,
can run the
where the
wing,
angles.
you can cut in, that sort of thing, right? So, I don't, boy.
I
Stick
think
to the guns, Bill. Stick to
I
the
think
guns, Bill.
I think it could work with you see, like on the left side when Dalo, that was the Bodo Glint game, when Dalo came on and Dalo was tucking more inside to allow Garnacho to go wider. I think it could work that way a bit on the right side because Maswari and Ahmad are both very intelligent footballers. And if they could feed off each other, then when Ahmad goes wider, then you could get Maswari kind of filling the gap inside instead. And so they could have that understanding so Ahmad could go wide at times. But then with Ahmad footwork, I think it would be nice to have him in the more compact spaces because this is where we see Garnacho struggling in the team. Because Garnacho has to play in that 10 role now, he is struggling to find the spaces that he is used to. But I think Ahmad is a kind of tidy player with great footwork and balance who could actually handle that role and get through bodies, to either pick a pass, take a shot, get fouled, things like that. I think that is kind of what missing in our attack right now because when you look at today with Mount and Garnacho, it didn't have
working.
anybody there. Nobody with creativity, with a kind of flair about them. It was just hard runners. That's all they are. They just like to run hard. And I think that's what the team needs. So if you have a hard runner and Bruno who could still create next to the flair of Ahmad, when you have the security of Maswari and Euro behind on that side, and the intelligence of those players who could pick passes as well, I think that's where we'll start to see the attack flourishing. But
Yeah. I think Phil, going back, I think Phil might be right. Until we see more from Malasia, and he has the potential to be that kind of player that could, I think what Ahmad gives you close to your own goal is that wall security, that outlet, that you can start the attack there. Until Malasia gets to a point where you trust him more, and Malasia has that confidence and stuff, but you need to see more of it, the next few games. But Ahmad gives you more security to start your attack. I mean, you could pass the ball, he could turn, he could pass it back. He has that, that confidence. You put somebody like Garnacho in that same spot, you still got, that's where you start seeing the spots that Ahmad is right now is where where Ten Hag used to have Garnacho come back and get the ball, and Garnacho used to lose that ball, and right away it'll be a counter attack. Like so, people you have close to your goal, and you need to trust them. You need to have a kind of trust, otherwise the ball could be back in the net before you know it. So until we get our Malasia figured out, Malasia or Dalo or Ahmad might be the best bet. Even though I would love to have somebody that could turn in midfield, at least once or twice. I mean,
Good point.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I still want to say that I've seen the football IQ of Masrari, right? And I've seen him on the left, I've seen him at right centre back, I've seen him at right back, right? I have also seen what Ahmad can do at right wing back, right? The guy goes forward, the guy knows how to defend. I am not against Ahmad being further up the pitch, but if my ideal back five of Euro, Delip, Martinez, and then Masrari on the left and Ahmad on the right, I would feel comfortable with that. Maybe give it 1 or 2 games. And if Ten Hag, not Ten Hag, oh my god, I apologize, guys. If Masrari not Mazrari, if Ruben Amorim decides to put Ahmad in the position next to Bruno, and it works out even better, go for it. Go for it, right? But here's the thing. Let's say it does work out in the number 10 for Ahmad. Then it's possible that later on in a game when a substitution is made, Ahmad could possibly go back to wing back and Mazraoui switch to the left just in case, right? So you can see the versatility of Ahmad and Mazraoui, right? And you know, over the years, there are players that have been versatile, that they can play in any position, right? Like your John O'Shea's or who else was versatile? Maybe Jason Park to some extent, right? But it's like these guys are versatile and they're doing a great job at it. Let's put it that way. They're doing a great job at it, right? So, yeah, let's get some closing thoughts. Before we get some closing thoughts, let's go through these comments here. Kurt Alexander is saying, I think after this season, Ineos should let go Shaw and a few others for sure. Yeah, I think we share the same sentiments as you, Kurt. He's saying, just went back and saw highlight and saw Ahmad made an excellent close down on an Arsenal defender again. That's Ahmad for you, boy. I can't believe Ten Hag was playing Anthony over this guy, boy. Well, boy. Curry saying my back five is Euro, Delit, Martinez, Maz, and Malacia/Amas, then Ugarte and Cassie in the middle. Bruno, you leave it up, Kobe Manu, boy, you wicked boy. And then Kurt is saying the reason I could be wrong that both Mazraoui and Ahmad have the connections on the right is because they share two similar things in common, both from Africa, and Muslims. Oh boy!
Yeah, all Africans really good like that. No, don't.
But here's the thing, right, Kurt or any panel? The Player of the Year nominations were three Africans: Mazraoui, Ahmad, and Onana. For the player of the month. Yeah. Player of the month, yeah.
But they have been the three most consistent players.
The frightening thing is that we lose our three best players when AFCON come around.
Oh gosh, JP, don't say that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Think
but
about
here's
that.
the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know if you guys saw it when Man United announced that Mazraoui was the Player of the Month for November. Yeah. Did you guys see Ahmad's response?
Yeah. I find that was so funny, and I'm sure that was catching kicks in the locker room with that too.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't no kind of malice thing behind it.
Nah. Let me get to these last two comments, then we get some closing thoughts. Kurt is saying, my middle will be Kobe and Ugarte. Kobe has some foot skills as well, too. Yeah, okay, perfect. And Kurt says Darren Fletcher was also versatile. Yeah, true. Very, very true. Forgot about Darren Fletcher. Closing thoughts, guys. Before we wrap up the podcast, you can factor in anything per se. Floor is open.
I honestly think, today was a tough day, but it is the learning curve is steep, and it's only going to get more difficult as the games come more frenetic. But just let's put this into perspective. We was dog shit around this time last month. So we started to see improvement. All you be a little patient and be a little realistic now. It can't change overnight. We're talking years of just nonsense. Being accepted from players, being accepted from managers, being accepted from upper management. They're finally taking a stance now and looking to make a change. We have a manager who clearly, knock on wood, has an identity he wants to play, and it's not going to mean he has to bow to his players. The players have to bow to the system and play the football. And if you can't play it, you get the hell out. So give the team a little chance now. We'll get there. We'll get there. We're going to have more. We're going to have more days like today now. Trust and believe that. But what I want to see is even when we losing in our way we just play. We ain't just giving up
Correct.
and just revert to hit holiday pass and yeah. That's all I have to say.
Simeon?
I mean, same thing what Chef said. I mean, the coach say, stormy days ahead, and here we are. I mean, who we play coming up? Newcastle City, forget who else.
Nottingham?
Nottingham. Boy, Nottingham got beat by City today, so
Yeah.
they could be up for this game this weekend. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, this, the thing is, for years, this team has been, going down, and we've been saved by great players here and there, but we don't really have. There's no Ronaldo. There's no, some of these players that that used to save us before. Like, we have to get the system, working, and it's not going to be pretty. We are, as we said, 4 years behind Arsenal. We are how many years behind City? We are, even a year or two behind, Newcastle. Like, we are behind, and in these games, you want to see the character of your players. In these games against the Arsenals, the City, you see who can really play. And, we look to Rashford, what do we get? We look to Bruno, our captain, what do we get? Unfortunately, we look to our young, baby strikers, what do we expect? It's in these games that to get any kind of result, we have to have the big money players who we pay all this money show something. It doesn't have to be, Bruno Ball. I mean, you're getting paid. I mean, are you that good or are you not good? And I think, the last, especially the last 5 years, we have put too much money in players who really aren't that good. And when we get in these games, they really can't do anything to show any kind of level. So I think it's going to be a rough few weeks, few months, but I think we have a coach we could trust in to bring the whole team up instead of just a few players.
JP, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say I have definitely seen improvements from each game. The coach asking for us to look at the performances, and from today I could see improvements in the performance. It took 2 set pieces to beat us today against what has been the second best team in England for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And a proper performing team in Europe as well. So with the best set piece coach in the world, like they don't even need Arteta at this point, right? So so there's a lot of positives to take from today, and I like Amarim's honesty at the end of the matches too. And it's even passing on to the players, because I have one of the comments from Delit in front of me here.
Yep.
And he was talking about the positives from the defensive side. And he said, offensively, we must and will improve. So that's honest. That's honest from a player who there at the back doing his job.
Who could see everything.
Other players in the back, and he's seeing it, and he's looking ahead, and it's like, all in front there need to do all your job now.
Yep.
We do know we are doing the back here, or you need to handle what going on in front there now. So that's what I was saying. Like when I started the pod, saying there's a core of players in this team who I think need to assist Amorim in the dressing room. So these are to be the players who getting the other players on board with, this is Man United now. This is a new culture we bring into this club now. we want to win games. And we want to win games playing a proper system. We don't want to just happen to get this trophy at the end of the season. We don't want Bruno to score a wonder goal or Rashford to score a wonder goal or Garnacho to score a bicycle for us to win a game. We want to play football a particular way to win games, to win trophies, to bring Man United back to where they had to be. And we have some players in the team that look like they're capable of, if we have at least 6 of them, they could have a influence on the team so that men know step up. Either step up or step out.
Yeah.
And Ineos had to continue what they started and back Amorim. And if Amorim say Bruno had to go, Bruno had to go. If
Yep.
he say Rashford had to go, Rashford had to go. Back him with whatever he wants.
Yep.
Because so far, I am liking what I'm seeing. This man come and take over trash from Ten Hag to bring us to the point where we looked solid against Arsenal. If this was Ten Hag, we would have gone out of this game 4-5-0.
Well, we will be our tones will be different. Let's put it that way.
Of course, this would have been like a real sour podcast. So I am seeing positives, and I'm just looking forward to Amorim continuing his work and continuing to stamp his style and his authority on this team.
No, well said. I'll keep it short. I think for the next few games, it'll be all about phase 1, where we are a team that is a possession-based team. Phase 2 will be to combine phase 1 with hopefully getting the ball to strikers and attackers more. And then phase 3 is to combine phase 2 and phase 1, where you'll work on their finishing, right? Because if we can leave a first half with 7 or 8 shots on goal, at least one of them got to score, at least, right? So I think there's about 3 phases. We're currently almost at the end of phase 1. And maybe in the next 3 or 4 games, we'll see phase 2 start to implement, right? So, but yeah, whether we lost the game, when we used to lose games under Ten Hag and Ole, this podcast would have been different. But this 2-love loss that we experienced today, there's no, I don't call it a therapy session, we'll call it a discussion, right? But yeah, Chef, Simeon, JP, thank you for joining on this Wednesday night. We look forward to the Forest game, and let's turn that into a win, right? All United out, and hope you guys have a great night.
Too, man. Take care.
Yes.